take you back in
Every Friday.
It's time to go back.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Savvy Radio Show with your host, Savvy Landlord. Up next is the best deal ever on Fridays. Check out all episodes on Savvy Radio Show. Let's do
All right,
it.
Savvy investors, it's Friday. Fabulous Best Deal Part 2. That's right. Last week, episode number 331 was the deal that I was in the middle of, and I just locked it up. And so here is Part 2. To recap, you should go back and listen to episode 331. But let me give you a quick recap. Well, first, the people got a hold of me through my property manager. My property manager was talking about a property. I don't know how they met, but next thing you know, my awesome property manager, which she's about to get a bird dog fee as soon as I close this mother, she told them about me. They emailed me back and forth, and you can hear those details on episode 331. There you go. I like to say 331. And we negotiated back and forth, never met them, don't know who they are. And they wanted, we're selling two properties. I knew one of the properties is way off, outrageously priced. I found out details on that property, but the property that was in my zone in an area that I do buy, they wanted 40. So, I replied back. If you listen to that episode 331, you'll see I was like, look, those are retail prices. I would probably buy that property between $28,000 and $32,000. So within about 8 emails or less, they emailed down to $32,000. So I got it not locked up, but I got a soft yes. Will you do $32,000? And so I was like, look, I got to go look at it. So next thing you know, and that's where I ended the last episode. Well, Tuesday came this week. Today's Friday. And Tuesday, I drove over to the property, and I met the people. They pulled up in a Lexus SUV. Okay. They were an older couple. I don't know, older. I'm 43, so maybe 53, maybe close to 60. I don't know what older is now because I'm confused. I think I'm 20, but I'm really 43. This body is something, blah, blah. So I went into the property. It's a normal, I would say, in an area of a blue-collar-ish area. Paycheck to paycheck. Most people, we all are paycheck to paycheck, but, a little struggle. It was a 3-bedroom frame house, and these great people, I don't want to dog them, but they, so the details is I found when I did my research, you always do your due diligence before you go on the property. I did research of what they bought the property for, when they bought it, how long they've owned it, what have they done to the property, what needs to be done to the property, and then I'm doing my inspection. So I went to the property, and it was in great condition, pretty normal, landlord friendly. It just needed to be painted. It didn't have to. It has a tenant in there at paying $575 a month. And that tenant was relatively clean, which is extremely rare in that type of area. I own several properties in this area. And these nice folks, they put central heat and air in this property. Now, I didn't realize that. And that made my juice level go up. So I found some mold area. I found that the current tenants were not maintaining the property, meaning that the air filter was so dirty, the A coil was about to explode. And so I showed them how to maintain the property, just to be integrity. Like, if I buy the deal, when I walked on the property, I was already emotional because $32,000 was what I would pay for a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in this area, already rented, $575 all day long. Let's slam dunk this mother. I could probably get it no money down deal if the appraisal came in. That was my mindset. So when I have that type of mindset, guess what I do? I bring a high detailed fella along with me. So I did bring a homie with me, and it kind of gives it, me against them, or when I'm negotiating. Plus, rule, if you follow me at all in any of my books or podcasts, you should always have a second pair of eyes. It doesn't matter who they are. They can point out things that you couldn't see. So I walked through the property, pretty maintained, couple of minor things. I found some mold in the bathroom, and and what I've determined was that mold was from a pipe jack off the roof. The roof needs to be kind of some repair. And my expectations of that would be between the minimum of $400 to like $800 in repairs. So I saw the property, went outside, and then I just started connecting with the people. And I was like, well, how'd you get this deal? And they were telling me that they got it, was assigned to them from someone else in Oklahoma City several years ago. So basically on the county assessor, it says that they bought the property for $22,000. In reality, someone else got it under contract for $22,000 and assigned it for 7 G's. Good job, investor, to this nice couple. And it seems like this rental property is maybe their second or third rental property that they've ever owned. They put too much money in the rental property. They've had some difficulties with tenants prior. And their motivation was obviously in an email from 40 to 32 is that they actually recently purchased mobile home park out of the state of Oklahoma. And I didn't really get too intimate with the people because I never know who I'm talking to. And here on the radio show, I actually got nervous about it because I talked about it on Friday last week before I even went and looked at it. And if they follow me or someone knows someone, they can snatch the deal from me. And that's kind of the situation that happened. Not happened, but that's how my mind went ballistic. So I connected with these people and I was like, how'd you get in real estate? This individual was really large in the oil field. They were well-to-do. They seem well-to-do. The Lexus was a little bit, and cars don't mean anything, but you've got to take all this stuff in and you got to size up your seller or buyer, whoever you're dealing with, so you know exactly how to present your low offer now, or lower offer, or offer in general. And so remember, my flesh was like, bro, I need to gobble up 20 houses this year. I need this house. I'd buy it for 32. And I already in my mind wanted to buy it. And I already had the email stating that you got it. But I still am a real estate investor. I still have to deal with these tenants. It's under rented, so I have to raise their rent. I may have to kick them out, and I may have to do a make ready. So in my mind, that was, kick them out, $1,000, make ready, $2,000. So that's $3,000, and the roof is $4,000. So in my mind, when I left that property, I was like, hey, I'm going to offer 28 in my mind. And so I'm talking to my friend in the truck while we're driving to the next property. Now I went to the next property, and the situation there was it was a subject to these. I'm pretty fascinated when I ask these folks, how did they get into real estate? And I didn't answer that before I chased that rabbit. They went to a Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar. The guy in the oil field tanked, and he was a large guy, large net worth, and lost it all in the oil with a snap of fingers. And then fell into Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then actually paid Rich Dad coaching, and that's how they got there. Then they got involved in local clubs, and next thing you know, Steve VanCauwenbergh is on their property trying to buy it. Now, and I think they were moving on to bigger and better things, and the blue-collar ghetto neighborhood is not where they want to be. And I can tell and they manage the property themselves. Well, that's one problem that you should consider. If you drive around in a Lexus and you're a well-to-do person, oil field or a doctor or something, you probably shouldn't be managing those properties in general, because you got to do what's the cost of your time and what is it really worth. Now, if you're just like me, just starting out, I definitely recommend you should learn the business. And I think these folks learn the business and they realize real quick, this is not the business they want to be in management. And I think that's the ultimate reason why they're selling the property. Again, I was already emotional. 32. I went to the second property. They did a subject to on it, and I was blown away about, like, these people are just like look a mom and dad to you. So think of like your mom and dad, like they're just like doop working in a job, 55,000, maybe 55 years old, 60 years old. All of a sudden loses everything. Now you're jumping into Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now you want to be in real estate. And now you do a subject to. And if you don't know what a subject to is, real quick, you take over someone's mortgage. The mortgage stays in place, their name stays on the mortgage, but all of a sudden that you're taking over their payments. Now, that's kind of sophisticated transaction. And, I'm not real reversed on it. I've done a couple of them just so I can say I have done it. There's a lot of things that can unwind in those and blow up in your face if you don't do it right. And I believe this is one of those deals. And the house that we went to is in another zone that I have several properties in, and it's a quality home, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 2-car garage. Probably the asset's probably worth $70 on paper, but the rent is only $700. And they tried to sell it to me on the email for $65. I got them down to $56. And I was like, why did you, basically, without disrespect for them, I was like, man, so how'd you guys get this deal? Tell me about this subject too. Well, the wife of the situation said she was helping a friend out. Wow. That's where we have a problem. When you help a friend out in a subject too, that means you're getting beat the F up, seriously, because a lot of things can blow up in your face, and they probably overpaid for the property in general. They did a really good job on the first one. They're just trying to get out of it because they don't want to deal with it. And that's a great opportunity for you as a real estate investor, someone that's getting out. Now, if you follow me for the next 50 years, around about 80 years old or 75, I'm going to roll out. I'm going to sell all my properties on owner finance, so I'll be giving everybody deals back then. And I got about not 50. Whoa, shoot, I'm 43. Man, maybe 30 years from now. So I better enjoy life today because it's getting, halftime already happened. I'm dipping in third quarter. Oh, shucks. Anyway, back to the deal. So, I was really honest with them, and I was like, I buy houses in this neighborhood for about 50. And I know it's worth 75, and they have to do 56. And so I can give you more details. And one day I really connected with these people. I really like these people. So I don't want to be all like judgmental and say some things about this subject too, like I normally do. Maybe I'm getting old, and they may listen to this podcast. And so I don't want to be all weird about it, but I can tell you this right now, that I'm assuming they bought it wrong on a subject to, because if they can't, or maybe they want more money than necessary, which is another word that I don't want to say. But the point is, they didn't seem like they were going to negotiate, and I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to beat them up because I really wanted the first house. So I was like, look, I can't do that property. And I don't think they didn't fire back and say, well, what would you give? I can't stand when people do that. I get real nervous when I say, hey, I don't want the property at all, but hey, you give the lowest offer in the world that, you would cough and choke if they say yes. So that was it. I shook their hand and I said, I'll get you an offer. It's 3:00 right now. I got to go pick up my children. I may get you an offer today, but I'll do for sure by Monday. And so I drove back from this area, it's about 15, 20 minutes back to the office, and my mind is like, man, I want this deal, 32, man, but I gotta stick to the guns. Now, this is where I fail, and I actually did well on this one, but this is where I love wholesalers. Wholesalers stick to a number, and they crush that deal. And I was like, okay, and I'm trying to help my homie out, be a real estate investor, so I was like, dude, I'm not going to go lower than 28. And I called them and I said, listen, folks, this is a deal. I can only give you $28,000. And these are the reasons why. I got to spend money on the roof. I got to deal with the tenant and basically explain where the $4,000 is coming from. They thought about it within 10 seconds and they said yes. And I was like, ooh, okay. 28,000. Now we're talking net's 575. I mean, gross is 575. I'm going to bump their rent to 625. My ROI is about 18. I can probably do a no money down deal. So boom, right after that, hung up the phone, got the contract done. And now, of course, as a real estate investor, you have power over the contract when you send it to them. I sent them the contract. In that contract, I stated that we split closing. Normally I would put, they pay closing depending on what their educational level is. And I for sure put on the contract that I'm not paying for the abstract. And if you don't know what an abstract is, that's Oklahoma City. It's old school. They keep a little book on all the properties. It's a waste of money. It's $600. And so I'm not paying that. So, but now this is where you're going to get the knowledge. This is where I know it's 15 minutes in the deal, but this is where I think that education comes in. So I got it for 28. I'm super juiced up, excited. And I order the appraisal right then. So I've dropped a couple $100 on an order in the appraisal because they need to close by July 5th. And I was like, I can do that. But I don't want to use specific cash. I want to do an acquisition loan on it. So I order the appraisal. And this is where the education comes in. I didn't get the contract back that day. And I was like, yeah, I had to pause. You see that? That's called the pause. And I was like, why didn't they send a contract back? Did they listen to the Savvy Radio show? Did they hear episode 331 and they got juicy on me? Did someone steal the deal? So my mind was going like insecure. Now I know you folks, you don't be hustling. You don't be lying to yourself. You got insecurity. We all got insecurity. So I was like, whoa. So this is the class right here, party people. So now you got to engage the seller by making them committed. Ooh, how you do that, VC? Yeah, now you listen tuned in, mother. This is how I did it. I sent him a text this time. I said, sir, we've got to get the roof repaired to correct the mold. It is leaking in the property. May I, if it's okay with you, I had to read my text. I don't got my phone on me. If it's okay with you, may I send a roofer over there to get a bid? Now, basically the question, oh, there's my phone. Let me pull my phone up. So basically what I was doing, I was like getting that guy to commit to me so I can get, so he won't look any other way, and remind him that there's a problem with the house and and I'm already willing to pay for the roofer repair, which causes all kinds of drama. I go, sir, this is Steven. Would it be okay to send my roofer over? Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Sir, this is Steven. Would it be okay to send my offer over to the house? My roofer. Oh my gosh. This is Steven. Would it be okay to send my roofer over to the house to get the ball rolling? I want to fix the leak the day we close. So this is like a jab. I wanted to say, hey, we're going to close. Hey, I'm concerned about this repair. I know you don't want to pay for it. And I didn't want to say I'm going to do it. I'm going to fix it the day of. I led to the equation that I need to get the numbers in place. Well, I emailed that text on Wednesday at 6:59 a.m. That's how I roll, 7 in the morning. And I did not get a reply at all for the whole day. Now, that's when my mind was going ballistic. I was like, "Oh, dude, I lost it because I was greedy on the 4,000." But I mean, I'm a real estate investor. That's why I think wholesalers are amazing, because they're so gangster. They could just offer this money and they fix it. So I obligated the guy, right, in his mind. And then he said, his wife is, I believe, is a doctor of sorts, and she's at the hospital for 12 hours, and she's got to talk to him. I thought that was weird, and I knew he was kind of blowing me off. So the next day at 7:45, I sent this text message. I said, update. I'm doing my obligation technique here. Update. Roofer should be there today or by the weekend. Of course, that's what they say. I hope all is well. If you need anything, let me know. If we are going to close fast, yeah, you hear that? I do need the contract to send to the title company. They will not start the title work until they receive the contract. And then I go, we can still close by July 5th, exclamation. Now, you see how I created a sense of urgency without being disrespectful. And then guess what? My phone rang 10 minutes later. well, Stephen, this is the seller. We read your contract, and since we're going so low on the deal, and this is where I found out that they actually bought it for $29,000. So they're, in their mind, they're losing $1,000, and they've upgraded the property by putting central heat and air. So in their mind, they bought it for $29,000. They put central heat and air in it, and in their mind, they're getting taken, but they know that they're getting taken kind of because they weren't educated when they bought it, because they bought it right in a certain realm. And they ask, could you, and they said it in a more of aggressive way, which was a really good way. They said, could you pay all closing or something? And I knew right then that I needed to. So I said, absolutely, I'll pay all closing. I'll send the contract over to you. I paid all close. I redid the contract, changed the date. 2 days later, locked it up. Within 30 minutes later, bang, 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 bang. They got the contract back to me. I sent it to the title company. Bang, bang, bang. Title company's like, yep, we'll get it closed by July 5th. Mr. VanCauwenbergh, I was like, that's why I use you. We peoples. And guess what? The appraisal came back. $42,000. Bang. $42,000. If you do the math, 75% of what this bank will loan me is $31,500. And guess how much money I borrowed? $31,500. This is a no money down transaction that started from a lead from a property manager. This is what it did. This is how you do it. I'm not telling you this to be arrogant or braggadocious. I don't know what the word is, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you can do this. Now, is it some crazy skill that I did? Well, first of all, number one, what did I do? I did a no money down deal. Number two, I learned. I communicated without being offensive. I didn't say I have cash, I can close. This is the needs and desires that they needed. They needed to sell a property. I need to buy a property. I don't tell them that I'm excited. I show them that I am a real estate investor. If you go back to 331, if you analyze these two episodes side by side, there's probably 13 years. Oh, I don't know why I came up with 13, but 13 years of education to get that deal. Now, they wanted 42 in the beginning. 40 in the beginning. We got them down to 32. We locked it up at 28. Closing costs are going to cost me about $1,000. The repairs, it's still a smoking deal that I'm going to own forever. Anyway, my name is Stephen VanCauwenbergh. If you like this episode, go to thesavvyradioshow.com. You click on the little microphone button and leave a comment. Say, yo, VC, I like it. Or, hey, VC, try this app. Or if you want to be interviewed on the radio show, I would love to get to know new people. I do appreciate all my folks out there that have sent me messages lately. I've been in the trenches trying to survive, but I'm getting it done. Now, hopefully you'll learn that this is how you can do it. Slow and steady. It doesn't take rock science. I didn't have 10 degrees. I just knew what I was talking about, knew how to read people. If you go back and listen to the DISC episode, you will learn more on that. Anyway, hopefully you're doing good. Have a fabulous weekend. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks for listening to The Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.